as like mentoring young guys and bringing guys up to speed and all that. At this point in my career, I was looking for an established culture and a group of men, one common goal, and that's to win. And when I went on my visit to Carolina, I went to a lunch where they had 6 of their players. They had Christian McCaffrey, Luke Kuechly, Greg Olsen, KK Short, Shaq Thompson, and Trey Turner. And I fit right in. They made me feel at home, and I was like, you know what? I can be here. Because I had to make a decision, where can I be away 6 months without my family? You know, I'm married, been married 6 years, I have 5 children. So, and I'm always around them. I do everything with my family. So being away from my family was a part of that decision as well. But at the same token, if you're gonna go somewhere that's a contender and win, the best thing to do first is win your division. I believe the NFC South is the best division in football. Who's the champions of the NFC South the past 2 years? New Orleans Saints. Who are they ran by? Drew Brees, high-powered offense. How do you take out a high-powered offense? You have to have a high-powered defense. So a lot of those things went into my decision with why I chose Carolina.
Well, don't pretend like we don't know who else is in the NFC South either now.
Yeah.
You pretended like you talking about, New Orleans and Carolina, but you forgot another team that you just came from.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, obviously. Did they offer you, two-part, did they offer you a restructure or they just wanted to part ways?
It was a little bit of both. Not really technically a restructure. You know, we tried to come to a decision of what we could do, and nah, we just had to, nah.
How upsetting, not only do they say, okay, we want to move on from Gerald McCoy, but they bring a guy that plays your position and they put him in your old number.
Well, as far as signing him, organizations have to do what they have to do when you let a player of my caliber go, so I understand that. But as far as giving away my number, in the history of the Bucs, they have a ring of honor. And all the greatest players in the organization usually get their numbers retired. And when Sapp left, which Sapp is one of a kind, but John Lynch, Brooksy, all these guys left.
He started it.
Rondé Barber, when all these guys left, and nobody wore the number. They didn't give their number away, and it was a sign of respect. Well, 6 Pro Bowls, All-Pro 4 times. This is Tampa Bay, you know, and I'm one of the best players to ever play in the organization. I'm gonna say it. Usually I wouldn't, but I'm gonna say it. So what?
Listen,
it kind of shows. It kind of shows the respect and how they felt about me. I think it does. Them giving the number away, that's their prerogative. But the respect they showed, especially, it'd be different if it was a guy who came in, he signed 4 or 5 years. This is a 1-year deal. And you said because he caused a problem or he really asked for the number, we gave it to him. I mean, it may seem like it's just a number, but it's bigger than that. It's respect. And that was a big part of the separation between me and Tampa, period, was the respect they showed to me all offseason. It just wasn't there, so.
Why do you think that began to happen? Because as soon as Arians took over, one of the first statements he made was, I need to see more from Gerald, right?
Yeah. Well, here's how I see it. I'm gonna say this, and one thing I'll never do is slander or disrespect the organization that changed my life, so I won't do that. But what I will speak on is the truth. And the truth is, I did not speak to any of the coaches besides Bruce Arians without running into them while I was in the building working out. Nobody called my phone. Nobody. I didn't speak to my D-line coach. I didn't speak to Todd Bowles. I didn't speak to anybody. I didn't speak to Jason Light. I spoke to nobody. And if I'm supposed to be one of the staples, have been one of the staples in this organization since I've been there, you know, it'd be different if they wasn't calling other people, but they were calling other people. So you mean to tell me you can't just pick up the phone? Hey, we're here, just wanted to introduce myself, none of that. I spoke to Todd Bowles, and he's a great man. This is not about the men. This is about what happened from the organization, period. Nobody called me, not once. And I never spoke on that, but nobody picked up the phone, not one time, to call me, speak to me, anything. And I think that speaks volumes. Silence speaks volumes. So a statement was made about me from our GM, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But when you go silent, especially with the media slandering me, making up stories about, oh, it's a contract issue and all this, it's easy. Just pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, we're not worried about none of that. We want to welcome you. I mean, we want to introduce ourselves. It's a new staff, blah, 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 blah. None of that ever happened. I ran into people in passing in the hallway. That's the most I ever spoke. I spoke to Baltimore. I spoke to more people in Baltimore, Cleveland, and Carolina's staff than I spoke to the Bucs all offseason. And that's a fact.
So you felt you being a pillar of that in the community, a staple in that organization, the lack of respect that they showed you with this new staff was disrespectful.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't, so for Coach Arians to say what he said about me, he doesn't know me. So I don't really fault him.
Did he say that without meeting you?
He said it, well, we met.
Okay.
But that's all it was a meet. Right. We didn't meet. We didn't sit down and talk for an hour. We didn't talk about the plan moving forward. We didn't say any of this. All that was said was in the media. We have to evaluate his play. Oh, we evaluated him. He's going to be our 3 technique. Then it goes from he's going to be our 3 technique to he's not enough. He hasn't been the same over. So, excuse me. So it's like, which one is it? You know, and it's just a conversation. It's not hard. This stuff can go on behind the scenes.
Right.
But none of this stuff is taking place. No phone. You can't pick up the phone, not once, for one of your pillars.
So maybe I should disqualify myself because we're both from Oklahoma City.
Right.
I'm a big University of Oklahoma fan, and you were a star there, and I've always been a big fan of yours. But what got me about what happened to you over the last couple of years is you did make the Pro Bowl in 2017. That was your last one, but you did make it, and your sacks over the last 3 years have stayed pretty high, 7, 6, and 6. So you didn't fall off the map over the last 3 years. And then they go get a Sue, who had a decent year last year, but he's a year and 2 months older than you. And you've played against him all the way up through your OU days, because obviously he was at Nebraska and they were still in the Big 12. So I couldn't, that was offensive to me. They went and got an older guy to replace you.
Well, that's their prerogative. That's the decision they made. And I have no hard feelings towards Tampa at all. But there comes a point in time where you have to show some respect. And I didn't feel like they showed me the respect I deserved, that I earned. It's not about, I'm not saying you give me respect for something I didn't earn. I earned that respect. Tampa hasn't been a winning team, and we all know it's hard. You know, it's hard to be considered a Pro Bowl, all-pro person on a losing team.
Right.
And I did it 6 years straight. That's hard to do. And for the respect I received after doing that, it's like they showed none.
Well,
and you know, I don't know why. That's my thing is, it's not that I'm bad-mouthing them. I just don't know. I don't understand what happened. I don't know why.
But when you look at it, you're familiar with the general manager. The only thing changed was the head coach, and he brought in a new staff. So do you think the disrespect had something to do with Bruce Arians, or was this something brewing with Jason Light, who's the general manager, who's been there? You know him.
Yeah, I know him. And, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, man. Bruce Arians don't know me, but Jason Light does. So but overall, you know how this goes. Staffs, coaches talk to the GMs. They all have these meetings about what's going to happen moving forward. I don't know if it was a statement of, well, let's not talk to them, let's not do this. I don't know what it was. I don't know. You know, I wasn't in the conversations. I just knew this. Whenever I got the phone call, I was going to be ready, whether it was with the Bucs or somebody else. And that's all I could control, is make sure that I was the best me.
So how much are you looking forward to playing Tampa twice?
It's going to be fun.
What you mean? What you mean it's going to be fun?
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Got that date circled in red.
Yeah. No, it's in blue now.
Blue? Like that.
So I believe that was the overriding factor of you going to the NFC. Because when someone gives up on you, you want to show them. You don't really necessarily, and I believe the Broncos gave up on me and I went and signed with the Ravens. It wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about proving me right. I can still play. I can still play at a high level. You don't believe I can, but you'll see.
Yeah, I honestly believe I can. You know, I recently made this switch to being a vegan.
Okay.
And everybody's like, well, why are you a vegan, man? You're a defensive lineman. Well, let me say this. This will answer your question, okay? Since 2014, I'll say I weigh a little bit more now, but I did a body composition at the beginning of minicamp in Carolina. My muscle mass is higher than it's been in the past 5 years. My body fat is lower than it's been in the past 5 years. Excuse me. And this is since I've been a vegan. So for a person to say, oh, well, how can you be a vegan and still keep your muscle on? Well, how can you? It works. And I always tell people this. Well, where do you get your protein? I get my protein from the same place your protein gets its protein. That's plants.
But see, that's minicamp. We're going to see if you're going to be able to hold up that wear and tear in them trenches being a vegan. Have you been a vegan in them trenches yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, that